Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie, and today I'm back to review Donnie Darko, and this is the collector's edition tin box set from Germany. Now, this is quite an old DVD release, and from what I understand, it's not a limited release. As for the exterior tin case, this was the first time I ever saw a tin case like this. But you know, by today's standards, it's a very common case model, if you will, and it's not a steelbook, and you know, it doesn't really have a specific name. So, I know, most people would probably just call this a tin. The back cover is all plain, it's a black matte printing. The front cover is also matte printed, but you do have a really nice embossing on this sort of rabbit head here, Frank the Bunny. And the printing on the head and the logo are glossy in comparison to the background. Up here, if you can sort of tell that just right beside the embossing there, it sort of looks like it's scratched, like it's got some marks here. But the weird thing is that these are actually printed. You know, there's no other place on the cover where sort of the artwork goes away from the embossing. But right here you actually have some very, very slight printed details. And it looks to be like text, but it's just too small to read. So, yeah, I have no idea why they would end up there. And I mean, you don't really notice it if I don't point it out, but just an odd detail. Opening this up. Now, if you haven't seen this type of tin before, I guess you're missing out on something. A lot of the tins distributed from ECDVD in Australia, they usually use this type of tin design. Now, as you can tell, just a plain tin box. Then we got the keep case, which, from what I understand, this release is probably available separately in Germany. So if you're gonna get the collector's edition, don't, you know, just go buy collector's edition, because you know that's not a guarantee, and I'm pretty sure you might be fooled and just end up with the keep case. As you can tell, this is pretty much standard artwork. I mean, it's not unusual. As for the back cover, I mean, you can tell this is a 2-disc set, but you can just tell by the listing this is all special features listings. So I remember back when I picked this up, this was ranked as, you know, the best edition of Donnie Darko back in those days. It had the most special features. It had all the other special features that were on other regions, as well as some exclusive ones. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this holds up today, but I bet it's still, you know, one of the better editions to get. Now, seeing as this was released before the movie was issued in the sort of debatable director's cut, which I, for one, you know, I don't really favor either version, you know, between the director's cut and the theatrical one. I think the theatrical is more classic. I mean, that's the one we all fell in love with, but at the same time, you know, the director's cut does have a few points, and it makes a few differences that I'm not in favor of, so yeah, it's hard to say. But I can mention, if you are sort of a favor of the director's cut version, but you still want to get a cool edition, this release, or rather a variation of it, is actually available. There is a second tin case, which looks sort of the same, but also has a much darker printing, and it also has like some dark sort of thundery clouds on the front cover, but it's exactly the same tin box set, and that set actually has the director's cut. And you know, that is something I've been wanting to get as well, because I do think the movie is a classic. Anyway, that's it from me today. If you want to get the full specs for this edition, to sort of know if you want to purchase it or not, be sure to check out discjunkietv. I'll leave a link in the video description, and there you can get full specs for this edition, including my own comments and stuff like that. Well, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.